unique, really kind of talking about how you should be moving in your career, right? We at the Black in HR, as you guys know, we constantly try to elevate our communities, members of our community, in ways that they can't get in other places, right? We want to give you guys the information to compete at the highest levels, to win in your career, to get the outcomes that you say you want. And it starts by having conversations like this that we're going to be having today. So I'm going to first start. I'm Prathan Powell, President, CEO of Black in HR. My background is in employee relations. I've built my career in employee and labor relations with Google, Netflix, Nike, Coca-Cola, and some of the largest companies in the world. I've also consulted as well for some of those same companies, and I'm excited to be here today. And then, Andrew, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the mic to you as well for you to introduce yourself.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Andrea Johnson. I am been with Black in HR, I think since like 2020 or 2021, something like that. Started out as a consultant, then became a coach, a teacher or instructor, a boot camp instructor, all the things Black in HR. In my full time, I really focus on HR people and culture, primarily in the sports and entertainment industry for the last decade. Got my doctorate in human resource management in 2020. So excited to be here to give you all different insights on becoming a consultant and turning your full-time or your old bosses into your future clients. So happy to be here.
All right, and Joe, I'm going to go ahead and make you a co-host. That's why you can get your camera on. So go ahead and turn it on for us, sir.
Okay.
All right,
Hi,
awesome.
everyone.
Joe, Joseph, you could please introduce yourself as well, and then we'll get this thing popping.
Yes, my name is Joe Oliveira. I'm a product marketing manager and media strategist for Hisense. Previous to that, I was working at LG Electronics as a video producer and have been in video production for about 20 years. My degrees in motion graphics and visual effects. I've been doing that since about 2011 and photography since 2007.
And guys, and if you're wondering, Joe is Black in HR's production manager. So all of the content that you guys see that we put out for Power, for our for the Secret Dinners you guys see, that is Joe and his team. Black in HR has a full production team, full-time production team, and Joe leads that. And so I wanted to make sure I brought him in because Joe has a phenomenal story that you guys are going to certainly see is not unique, and it's something that he and I talked about, and I want you guys to see how that unfolds. And of course, Andrea, you guys, what else to say? Andrea's Andrea, so she talks about this type of stuff all the time. So we thought this would be a great conversation to get kicked off. I got a presentation or a few questions I'm going to ask the team, and so with that being said, let me get my screen shared. Can everybody see this?
No, not yet.
It's loading.
All right, let me know when it comes up.
We can see it.
Okay.
All right. Okay, great. So let's get started. Let me go to the next page. How to do that. All right. So I want to start off asking a few questions, and I want to make sure this is the first slide because I may have skipped it. No, okay, it is the first slide. So, Andrea, this is to you.
Okay.
Um, how did you manage the delicate balance between doing your job and building a bridge to your future consulting business before you officially left your employer?
Yeah, I would say for me, it was more about making sure that I'm doing my current job really, really well, ensuring that I was exceeding expectations. So, whatever your ratings are, typically in most of my companies, it was a five point rating scale. So it was about ensuring that I'm always a top performer, so that they can know that they can always count on me. And then starting to slowly and surely weave different things in based on the opportunity that presented itself. So if we were needing a instructor to teach a certain class and I knew that I could do that or that I had started doing it on my own, then I could then, raise my hand and say, well, instead of outsourcing and doing it, like, what if I do this here? And they say, well, how do you get that experience? And I say, oh, I do this on my free time, or, oh, I do this on the weekends. So it wasn't just coming up to them saying, hey, I'm consulting, this is what I do. It was steadily doing it on the side. And then as those needs started to come up, then that opened the opportunity to have the conversation. And then they couldn't say, well, your job was slacking, right? Because at that point, I'm still a top performer. So they were comfortable knowing that regardless of what I was doing on the side, I was still going to continue to show up every day and be my best self, continue to give everything to them. And I think that's where a lot of people mess up. Also, I had to be very strategic and not taking things from my current job, not using resources in my current job and using that for my external role. So for instance, I bought my own Canva license, even though my company had a Canva license. I made sure I had my own separate thing. I had a different laptop, even though my company had a laptop. We didn't typically have strong IT that tracked it, but if in any case that came up, I needed to make sure that there was a clear separation, so that they can't say, oh, well, it's a misuse of company goods, a misuse of company time, or company resources, or anything of that nature. So it was ensuring that I took all the proper protocols to set my business aside for itself, and then be very clear without taking engagements during business hours. Now, eventually that did shift once they became, trusting, and especially once you're, director level and above, they're not tracking what you do every day. They're just tracking your deliverables and your outputs. But in the beginning, it was ensuring that they knew that this wasn't interfering, but also it was just those subtle things where I could raise my hand and say like, hey, I can do this. I've done it before, or hey, I have expertise in this. And especially if it's something different than a previous role. So sometimes I had compensation as part of my role. Sometimes I didn't. And so when I didn't have it as part of my role, it was easy for me to raise my hand and say, well, I've done this. I do this on the side. And so they knew again that I wasn't sharing or mixing those resources. So it's really all about being strategic, ensuring that your current role, you're still showing up fully for that, and then finding those little subtle ways where you could raise your hand or you could like bring it up without it being contentious. And then also, I only made it public if I had really good relationships with my supervisors. If I didn't, if it was a supervisor that I knew was kind of different, and then even in some companies, you have to get permission to do outside income and things of that nature. So I'm not saying do it if there's a rule at your company, follow the protocols, don't get fired. But in situations where that isn't necessarily required to an extent, and I had really good relationships with my supervisors, then it was easy for them to know that I was trustworthy and that regardless of it, I was going to be able to show up fully and do both things.
Andrea, thank you so much for that. I think that that's the biggest thing is understanding the overall picture, like how your work is showing up to where you can build that trust to get the flexibility and the leeway to do what you are trying to do. So before I continue, I want to ask you guys a question. I don't know if y'all can see Andrea and I because I'm sharing screen. Can y'all see us? Feel free to let us know in the chat if you guys can see us, because otherwise I can just say the questions. We don't really have to show them on screen. It's just questions.
They can see us.
Oh, they can. Okay, great. So I was wondering that the whole time. I do want to ask, I want to pause here with the questions because Andrew, I would like for you to kind of talk about your transition from the National Women's Soccer League to what you're doing now, right? And I know you and I have discussed how you have been supporting them in your exit, but what was that actual, what was your mindset going out, exiting the organization, and then preparing to potentially support them on your way out? Was it a surprise? Did you plan it? How did it work? And what were the conversations you were having?
Yeah, I'll actually take it all the way back to the Dallas Mavericks, because the Dallas Mavericks is actually how I got my first fractional client. And that was just from when I had decided I wanted to make the exit, and I was talking to my CHRO, who became friends with. She knew what I was wanting to accomplish. And at the time, the Mavericks didn't have a setup where they needed an HR consultant. However, it still stayed top of mind for her. And so whenever she would have other, networking, small business owners or anything come to her and say, do you know someone? She always was ready to throw my name out there. One, because I was a trusted source. And so anybody that's going to put your name on something, they want to make sure that they're trusted, especially if it's another business owner or another CHRO or whoever is coming and asking for those referrals. So that's really where it started. And then going from there, I was like, okay, this is kind of my model. Like, I need to make sure that when I'm building this relationship so that when I'm ready to exit, then they would always be a connection point. Even if they don't have any openings on their teams, then as people are talking, they're able to offer me to their former colleagues and things of that nature. Now with NWSL, it was a little bit different because I was originally hired remote, and then the company decided to move everybody to New York. They got a new office. They wanted to do away with the remote workforce, and they wanted to move everybody to New York. But what was significant there is that we had a really, really tiny HR team, and I had kind of carved out a niche at being the expert in so many things. So I wasn't just doing HR. I was the one that was owning our, different big marquee events at our championship that were actually partner events, and they should have sat with the partnership team. But because I came in and showed value, it became my marquee event. Same thing with our all employee offsite. Once a year, we would bring all the employees into to New York, and we would do, a week of learnings, trainings, business strategy, all of that. Again, that was something that wasn't mine. They had been doing it when I got there, but when I got there, it was something that fell on my desk immediately, and I took it and got really good at it. And what I found out was that once somebody gets comfortable with you, you can really kind of name your price on your exit if you want to keep that relationship. And I'll be honest with you, Prathan, I saw the white people doing it a lot. I saw the white executives exiting it out and saying, well, if you want to keep me, I'll be an advisor. They love to be the advisor. So I thought, well, if they could do it, then I can definitely do this. And so the key to it is also exiting on your own terms. Like I saw the writings on the wall. I knew that relocating to New York was not going to be in the cards for me. I also knew that I was doing the jobs with like 3 or 4 people, and whoever they were hiring in weren't going to have the expertise or the experience to do what I was able to do. I also made myself a subject matter expert in a lot of different things. Again, so instead of having to always go to the graphic design team, I could build out a lot of the graphics and things myself as long as they sent me the properties and things of that nature. And so I became kind of a Swiss Army knife on the team, and it wasn't just visible to the CHRO. It was visible to the commissioner. It was visible to the CMO. It was visible to the COO. And so they knew that even though they backfilled me with 3 people, there was still going to be a significant gap of the things that I covered and I brought to the table. And so when we started having the conversation about, we're going to be relocating everybody to New York, if you want it, the position is yours. And I was like, that's not going to work for me. And so they said, okay, we're going to lay you off in May. And I said, okay, that's fine. So then they came back and said, well, what if, we'll be your client? If that means you would own these key things, one being the event at championship, one being the remote event. And in that point, I was like, okay, I can pick the things that I like, and I can keep you on as clients for those things, and then continue to be able to build other things. And that just led to an extension after extension after extension to finally in December of last year, we was like, okay, we have to cut the tie at some point. But that whole time I would say from June up, the whole time the CHRO knew I was consulting, but it became apparent to the commissioner, the CEO, and everyone probably in June of last year. And so from June until December, they knew that I was working full time in consulting, so it wasn't a secret. But it was all about creating a value for them and being able to set myself aside. And so it was a no-brainer for them to say, okay, whenever she departs, we'll go ahead and keep her on as a consultant to cover these things. You're on mute, Prathan.
Sorry. What I like about things you stated was first you've identified spaces where you could make sure you add value, right? And it wasn't just enough to take on that work, it was to make sure it was visible, i.e. take credit, right? A lot of times we seem to want to work behind the scenes or just put our heads down. That is not how you win, right?
Nope.
And Andrea is like, all those executives didn't see her work just because she was about doing it. Andrea more than likely had no problem sharing her wins, sharing the
None.
impact that she was making, because that's how they do. But what did Andrea say, guys? She said she observed white people, right? Her white colleagues leaving the organization, but leaving as an advisor, right? Meaning they're going to go do something else, but I'm going to still make money here, right? And these are the types of conversations that we want to keep having here in the Black in HR, because we get see a layoff coming, or we see a shift coming, and we're focused on survival mode, right? And when you
Mhm.
operate in survival mode or scarcity mode, you don't think about the big picture and other opportunities that you can potentially add value or make additional revenue or consult, right? And so this is why we have these conversations. And so I want to give Joe the opportunity to share his story. Now, Joe's story is a little bit different. He didn't exit his organization, but Joe, I'll let you take it from here, and then we can kind of fill in the gaps as we go. You don't have to answer this question in particular, but I want you to kind of highlight the difference of what you were doing and how you kind of found yourself where you are now.
Okay. Um, let's see. I'm originally from the Chicagoland area, worked for LG Electronics for about 9 years. Hisense recruited me to create a customer support channel, YouTube uh, page for them to support the products throughout its life cycle. They liked what I did at LG. I had said no to them twice, but on the third offer, I couldn't say no, so I came down. Since that time, I've been working with them for about 4.5 years. I won 3 Heisman Star Awards internally, recognition for designing and building out the studio, creating the channel and its success, building it organically with over 2 million views and 4 million impressions. And the third Star Award was my contribution in the production with Bam Metal Bio, which you can see on the Hisense USA homepage. So I was part of that. You can also go to my personal website, jaopictures.com. You can see a lot of my portfolio work that I did for almost every company I've worked with. So just like everyone else across the nation, tariffs hit, affected the economy, affected our budgets. We went through a restructuring, as they say, not knowing I was going to be part of that restructuring. I didn't even think I was going to be laid off, which I was, because I was so valued and important, they kept telling me. Turns out they let me go based on an accounting issue. They didn't. My studio was built inside of R&D lab, and it kind of mimicked what LG Electronics did for home appliance. Um, so they're looking at the two, and they're like, why is this studio in R&D? It doesn't make sense. They tried to explain it. We got to make cuts somewhere. Um, why, if R&D is not producing videos, but he's creating all these marketing campaigns and support videos, it should be under Hisense USA. At that time, because of the restructuring, we hired new people, new creative directors with new and different initiatives. So they just phased me out. Like I wasn't important, like nothing I did matter. I'm sure the story fits everyone's narrative. If you guys have been in that situation where you're on top and all of a sudden your knees are cut from you and you're just like, what happened? Your head's spinning, your stomach hurts, you're in panic mode because you're being told how important you are just to be told that you're relevant like that. Um, so luckily my boss understood my value at the time, and that's very lucky considering we lost about up to 30 people in our organization. He told me the day he let me go, but I got you an opportunity to apply for another position, which is for the go-to marketing department team. He says I would be a great fit for it, and I would excel and do well there. That losing me would be a loss to the company. Again, I have an accumulative 15 years of home appliance experience working in R&D, but again, my specialty and my craft and my skill set education is in video production. Um, and so I had to go through the application process, create a pitch deck. What I did for the company, went through 2 rounds of interviews, got the job. I'm starting my second month in this position. While this is happening, it's a whole new ball game, terminology, workload, just understanding the job, very overwhelming. It's a lot. Now my commute went from 27 minutes to an hour and a half each way because it's in Alpharetta, where I was in Sewanee originally. So while all this is happening, um, I start teams that I built a reputation there. Everyone knows who I am. Everyone knows my work. They're still coming to me. Hey, we need video. Got to say no. Hey, we need video. Got to say no. We need images. Got to say no. And this wasn't stopping. So they were going to my new bosses, my new team leaders, and they're just like saying no, but then now they're starting to understand they put themselves in a predicament by letting me go, that internally they need a production artist, to do the things I've been doing the past 4.5 years. A lot of people didn't understand why they let me go in that position to put me over here. But now that I was in the headquarter end of it, everyone has access to me. So now it's just a bloodbath. So now my new team leaders kind of have to say yes because the business needs to move forward. Budgets are already made. So, allocating for new services, we're SOL. What else are we going to do? We got to check our current budget in-house versus going through like China headquarters to get things done. But hey, Joe's right here. So now there's a conversation which I had with Prathan because when I got laid off, I panicked. Didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to maneuver this before. I was never in a position where I got laid off. Usually I get more work. Um, he calmed me down, gave me great support, something I needed, reassured me that this happens all the time, that I'll bounce back. Uh, and then he'll help with, anything I need as far as looking for new employment. Anyway, fast forward into this role, you know, you and my wife said the same thing. They can hire you freelance, but I've never done anything like that as far as like a big corporation. I've always had clients. I started working for them, doing different things, and then eventually doing more. Um, so Prathan has suggested, to go in as recommend contract work, and to go in letting them know that they can't place a resource. I know the culture, I know the products, and I know how to give the deliverables that's satisfying to them that, push the company forward as I have. And that it would just take a slew of emails, a higher budget, um, just to replace me, which was seemingly going to happen at this point. So before I got to even, I was creating the strategy, the bullet points Prathan gave me. I had it up in email, drew it up in AI, trying to organize my thoughts while trying to, maneuver with all this new work. And just for them to be like, hey, would you mind doing contract work? Is that something you're up to or can do? And I was like, yes, I can. So that's kind of snowballed. So now going into my second month in this new position, now I'm overwhelmed with additional work that I said yes to, but now I'm charging a monster premium because they're basically paying me double to do the job I was doing before because they have no one else to do it. So now I'm at an advantage, and not only that, the company had promised um, Kenmore, which is our a competing home appliance brand. So we do OEM service, which means our Hisense range gets the Kenmore emblem, and now they put a different handle on it. Now it's Kenmore. But we were supposed to supply them the product images. But now that I'm no longer there, they can't fulfill that obligation. So now they're just like, hey, we're in a bind. We need to hire you for contract work. And now I have a segue into Kenmore, another brand. Once I fulfill that project, I'm sure, just like in the past, I'll have them in my Rolodex or pocket for future work. But that's where we are right now.
So Joe, like first, everyone, I want to shout out to both these two leaders, guys. They're telling you, they're giving you the blueprint. Joe and I, we're friends, right? We live near each other, and we hang out. And so when Joe called me and said, "Hey, layoff," and I will just be candid, I told him that, hey, I think that HR could have done a better job of managing
Oh
this
yeah, it was
structure.
pretty bad.
And I'm not going to go too details with that, but what I will say is, um, Joe has a phenomenal space right here because he's basically getting his full-time work. Now, Joe, as I remember, the new role you moved to is the same pay as your
Mhm.
old role. Is that correct? It was a lateral pay.
Yes, yes.
So his compensation didn't decrease,
Mhm.
but he ultimately got a contract while he's working there. He's getting paid twice by the same company to do what he was already doing, right? And that's the ultimate bag. Andrea, come off the mic, tell them that that is what you want, right? Um, and this is all about having the confidence to ask the right questions, to have those conversations. But Joe already had his business strategy in place. He already has a website. He already been doing stuff outside of his company, so he was prepared to do multiple things. And one of the things I said to Joe, I said, "Look, and this is what we talk about in Black in HR. When you are up, this is the time to pull other people's up, right? Other people up. So you can't, while Joe is doing two roles, he cannot let his primary role suffer because he's taking on side gigs. He can't do that. And I said, the best thing you can do now is what? Subcontract out, right? Part of the work that you are getting for these new budgets so that you can bring other people on and basically share the wealth, so to speak, right? So because ultimately
Mhm.
Joel's income was going to be the same, but now he got an extra, so he's able to say, okay, I have other projects I can farm to others, I can subcontract out to others through my company, right? I can feed other people who ultimately will grow my value to the to my to my industry when it comes to media production, and those people can bring opportunities back to Joseph. And this is why we talk to you guys about when it comes to consulting. You may not know how to do everything, right? It doesn't mean you just try to stumble through it. Subcontract it out to someone else who can do the work at a high level, and it's going to make you look good. It's going to give them the opportunity to make money, take care of themselves, and they will bring opportunities back to you, right? So really, if you guys think about everything that we talk about in Black and HR, when you're up, share the wealth, pull other people up while you're as well, and when you are taking care of your business, right? When you're thinking about the future, how can you make sure you're positioning yourself for opportunities? How can you make sure that your reputation will grant you the opportunities that other people don't get? And both Joseph and Andrew have just told you their reputations were stellar. So much, in fact, that their employers, in Andrew's case, right, immediately hired her to continue working, the consulting for her. Now, if you guys know, consultants, it's a premium. It's not just pay me what you used to, right? You got to pay. And of course, in Joseph's case, they are paying him twice to do the same job he was already doing a few months ago. And so it always starts with the work you're doing, your performance, and how you're able to make sure that people see you as an incredibly valuable resource so that when these opportunities come up, you're the first person they think about, right? And so I'm gonna stop with the questions because ultimately I think that this is kind of where we um, want to continue this dialogue. I think, guys, this is y'all do not understand. The game is that y'all don't understand the game. We're trying to teach you guys how to do it, and I'm really proud of you, Andrea and Joseph, for really being willing to share this because I think a lot of times, this information is withheld. It's not taught in
Mhm.
your in your in graduate school. I didn't learn this in graduate school. You
Nope.
just learn it by seeing it, seeing other people the way they move, and they're not always going to tell you that. People keep stuff to people keep stuff to their close to the vest, and we want you guys to know that. And so, Andrea, when you hear Joseph's particular side, and again, part of this was because HR didn't do a good job of working with the business to get them to see the bigger picture about this particular department and the impact and the lack of talent that was out there to fill Joe's role. It wasn't like the work wasn't necessary. They were looking at it from a dollars and cents problem. So, from an HR CHRO standpoint, what are your thoughts on that particular situation?
Which is wild because even though um the cost of the company is actually cheaper, even though the take home for the consultant is more. And so that was my big sale because with the tax implications and things of that nature, what a lot of people don't realize is that your salary is your salary, but the company is paying a premium on top of that because they're covering benefits, they're paying the taxes to the feds, the state, etc. So my thing was, especially when it goes to small businesses, and my pitch is, you can't afford me as a full time, but you can afford me at this rate. And at that rate, while it was a higher take home for me, it was less for the company. And so
Mhm.
what So ultimately, when you look at that, you can actually pitch it that way as well, especially if your team is if your job is looking for cost savings but wanting to keep your experience, because at that point also you're no longer required again to clock 40 hours. You're just in the deliverables. You want the output by this certain time. So as long as I can produce this, you're now paying for my expertise versus paying for my
Mhm.
time on the clock. And so typically I've been the HR person that has supported that and has actually, pitched that to people, especially when we're losing headcount. It's like, okay, well, we can't have this person as a full headcount because, especially in sports, a lot of it is not managed at the league level. The headcount is approved by the board. Things are managed, from people that are not in the day to day. So the workaround is how do we still get what we need when we can't bring in a full time person or this full time headcount? And freelancing, consulting, contracting is a great way to go. And so if you're in a position where your HR doesn't recognize that, is really for you to show them, hey, here's where you can actually save the company money year over year. But ultimately, you're thinking you're actually going to be grossing more. And again, you get you a good accountant that's going to help you get all the tax write-offs, all of that stuff. But your take home is actually more, even if it may look like a pay cut in most cases.
Yeah. So Joe, like with your particular, are they paying you in your normal paycheck or is it a separate pay? Like how does that work?
One team is going to pay me with credit card. The other one's probably going to go through like a vendor system.
Hmm.
So I'll be a vendor for the company.
Yep.
And then the third team, I don't even know yet. That's still in debate for conversation.
So with the vendor, he'll go through a vendor management. So again, is still going to be less for the company
Mhm.
because they're not having to pay the extra, the benefits
Mhm.
and all the extra taxes and stuff because now he's a vendor versus being an actual full-time employee.
This is what we call a lick. I just want to say that,
Yeah,
right? This is a
he played the system. He played the
full lick.
system.
This is a full lick for real. Man, when he called me about this, I was like, yo, hey, I said, because I know I told you, I said, make a business case, right? And I
Mhm.
sent to Bridget's business case template that she talked about. She had a template I said, Joe, make a business case for this because this is a good opportunity. You know they're going to
Mhm.
need this. And he didn't even have to because they came to him. But
Mhm.
because he had already written the business case, he was prepared with his number, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Prepared to
Mhm.
talk about how he would support it. This is what I can do. And now Joseph's in a position to where like he's getting contracts for doing the same thing he was already doing a
Yep.
month ago, plus the normal salary that they were paying him. So he's effectively catapulted his income out of the blue, right? And I think that's where it comes down to preparation and opportunity, right? That's
Mhm.
exactly what you always want to think about
Mhm.
is when an opportunity comes, am I going to be prepared to have this conversation? Am I going to have the performance to back up whatever I'm going to say or whatever I'm asking them to do? Do I have internally the um, the resources or the backing of people who can make decisions, who see my work, like in Andrew's case, who see my work, who can validate what I've done, and can make offers for me that other people don't get, right? And so this is
Mhm.
part of what we keep telling you guys. Always be thinking about ways to make yourself as valuable as possible. Learn your business, right? Learn the
Mhm.
business. This is exactly what you guys are hearing. Andrea said she was all over the place, right? She knew everything. Joe
Yep.
knew the business. He built the function, right? He knew everything. And when the opportunity came, you can't just replace people like that. It doesn't
Mhm.
happen like that. It's gonna take some time, right? It doesn't matter how bad the market is. There's a lot of intricate tribal knowledge that they both brought and they have with their organizations, and it takes time to replace that. And so when people say you can't anybody's replaceable, no, they're not.
Yeah, right.
That's cope, right? No, that's what people say to put you in a scarcity mindset to just accept anything. But it's on you to take the responsibility and say, I want to be as valuable as possible, and I want to be as loud as possible about what I've accomplished, what I bring. Don't do favors for people off GP. No, I need credit all on the
Mhm.
table. I need everybody to know
Yep.
that I wrote this strategy out, that I executed it out, that I took responsibility and I got these particular outcomes. So I want to say this, guys, as we get ready to close out, it's important that you guys think about how you're moving in your careers. The job market is what it is. Y'all see layoffs are happening everywhere, but it
Yep.
doesn't mean those jobs aren't needed, right?
Mhm.
They're saving money in other places. That means there are other people doing what Andrea and Joseph are doing all the time.
Yeah.
So I want to give people an opportunity to ask any questions. So to Joe and Andrea, feel free to come on. I got to give you guys permission to do that. Feel free to come on and ask your questions so we can answer them for you. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the chat and we'll give you the opportunity to come on mic or whatever. I don't know why, for some reason, Zoom's not letting me just let y'all do it. So any questions? Any questions? Just drop in the
The
chat.
other thing I want to add, Prathan, real quick, is that pay attention to what your company is paying other people who are vendors and who are like, even if you're not in that space yet, because when it comes time to name your price, you don't want to short yourself. And so if, I knew at NWSL, we was paying a vendor over 6K for one training a month. And so I was like, okay, well, I know what y'all willing to pay somebody for one training a month. Y'all finna have to pay me a whole bunch. But had I not had that insider knowledge, they will try to get over on you, or you won't know, and you will just sell yourself short. So anytime you have any kind of access, or ask the questions, be very mindful of your company's budget and what they're paying, so that when that time comes, because also you quote yourself too low, you diminish your value. You diminish what your perceived expertise is. And so getting as much knowledge as you can beforehand, before trying to make that transition, is also going to help you in the end.
Also, if I can add one thing too, to back up what Andrea was saying, what I find very, very similar, I guess there's a hustle mindset. Um, Not just being good at what you do, being a jack of all trades is one thing, but being good at being a jack of all trades will serve you. And just like she said, everything was separate. She had her own, computer, software. Same with me. I have my own equipment, my own computer, software, so I can do this job. Obviously, I have my own small business, so I could do this. But yeah, that incentivizes your client or whoever wants to hire you on within the organization, that, hey, I can legally do this. I can
Right.
do this without their stuff, so it doesn't get back to you like you did something negative or wrong or against
Right.
rules or policy. But yeah, it's the same as Andrew. Bravo.
Yeah.
Same.
I also want to make sure we highlight that. We talk about this all the time. Guys, make sure you don't be building stuff for your business with your companies with their computer, because they'll take credit for that, right? Because they can legally they can own
Legally,
it.
they can.
They can take
Yeah.
ownership of that. So
Yeah.
trust me, you don't want to be out there building stuff for within your company for your business on your work computer. And also be thoughtful about taking meetings at work. You have coworkers who will intentionally schedule a meeting with you at work to see if you'll answer it and then report you saying you're working on company time. Trust me, I'm in ER. I've seen it all, right? So you guys have to understand, move quietly. Don't be announcing your plans to get additional contracts. You know that there is an impact coming to your team or whatever, and you have the ability to pick up some other work. Don't go telling your coworkers this. They're not your friends. When it's a layout time, it's everybody for himself. We all trying to eat.
Yep.
So you have to be operating as if they're doing the same thing you're trying to do, and you need to get there first. Andrew will tell you this: when layouts are coming, if there's an opportunity to choose the exit, whoever gets there first get the biggest pot.
Yep.
Don't be at the end and now it's crumbs, right? You have to be thinking proactively all the time. And if you don't know how to do this, guys, get coaching with Black in HR. Andrea is one of our coaches, and she can walk you through exactly how the game works. Our other coaches know this as well. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean other people aren't doing it, right? So with that being said, I want to take you guys through a couple of things. We're going to be
Real
right
quick, Brighton, someone dropped a question in the chat.
Mhm.
Sanaya, I think her name is. She asks, as an undergrad, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but she asks, as an undergrad student planning to go to grad school, what field of HR would she recommend? Sanaya, whatever field you can get into. Like, coming out of undergrad, HR is one of those fields where experience is going to take you way further than a grad degree. So you saying you're doing psychology. I'm assuming that your grad degree may be in that. If you're thinking of doing a grad degree in HR, don't do it, because experience and certifications is what's going to get you the money on the HR side. Typically, coming in right into school, it's going to be an associate role, maybe an analyst role, maybe a junior HR generalist role. But anything that you can get to get your foot in the door to start getting that direct experience. Because I'm gonna tell you, what you learn in school is nothing like what we do in HR as a profession. You're really just learning the legal jargon around all of it, the employment law around all of it, but that's not what you deal with on a day to day as it comes to managing talent, working with leaders, working with the politics of the workplace. Like it is a completely and totally different game. And they just haven't figured out a way to teach that in school. So I would say, especially in this economy, whatever job you can get that breaks your foot into HR, go into it. And then you can decide then if that's a space you want to stay in, whether it's benefits, HR, employee relations, whatever the case may be. And if you don't like it, it's a lot easier to pivot once you've gotten into the actual function itself. But I would say again, don't go get a degree in HR. I mean, a master's in HR, thinking that's going to give you a leg up in the HR as a profession, because it's not.
Yeah, Sanaya, if you could, if you don't mind, could you just turn the mic on and to kind of explain, tell us who told you to go get your master's. I'm just curious, like what type of advice did you get to just help you
Well, she may
decide?
be doing psychology. If she's doing IO or anything like that, then it does carry weight.
It does carry weight, right?
But
But
if that's why I said if you're doing it on psychology, that's one thing. But in terms of HR, don't do it, sis. Don't do it. She said she can't unmute herself.
okay, I'll do it because we got to hear this. Give me a second. All right, Sanaya, I'll ask you to unmute. All right.
Hello. Okay, thank you so much for that. Okay, so no one told me to get my master's in HR. I've been doing my research and I was like, okay, I'm interested in the field. I know I'll do great, so maybe it makes sense to get my master's in HR. At first, I was looking at IO psychology.
Mhm.
I just went to the PsyOp conference, but I was like, whoa, like it's extremely technical, and they're leaning towards a lot of AI stuff, and it's very like heavily researched. And I think I just like more of the organizing part. So I was like, maybe it makes sense to get a master's in HR. But y'all, to be extremely honest, I'm about to be a senior. I attend FAMU, and I'm kind of like all over the place when it comes to grad school. Like I want to go to grad school, but I am trying to make sure it would be worth it in the end, you know? So I think I'm definitely in that space where I'm still trying to figure out what would be best for me career-wise and moving forward after I get my bachelor's in psychology.
Well, Sanaya, so what I'd say is this. There's a couple of things you stated that I want to make sure we're keen on. You are driving the bus without a map, right? You're an undergrad and you said you did research. Apparently, IO psychology is not for you. Cool, that's great. But you said you want to get a master's, but you don't know why, or you don't know what. Well, the question is, why do you want to get a master's?
I think the biggest thing is to further my education. It just seems like the next step. Um, and I'm like, maybe there is something I should get my master's in. I just haven't found that yet. But I'm like, oh, time is, ticking. I'm about to, be a fourth year. So I just feel like it just seems right.
So now
So,
I'll say this: if you want to get your master's, wait till you get a job that'll pay for it. If
Yep.
you just want to get it just
yeah.
on GP because you want one, there are so many organizations that will pay for you to go get it. Like my husband is doing the exact same thing. He works for Dell. He has no reason to get a master's, but he married me and I got a doctorate and now he wants a master's. They're paying for it fully. Okay. So
Right.
if you just want to get one because you want one, wait and get a corporate job that's going to pay for it, because again, it's not going to necessarily make you more appealing in the space, or is not necessarily going to generate an ROI if you have to pay for it out of your pocket.
Right. And it's also not like, oh, I just want a degree just to collect that master's. It's more like I know that I'm supposed to be specializing in something. Like I'm supposed to be doing something more career wise. And I feel like that's the next step. But you're right. Like, I should definitely have more of a clear plan when it comes to that. So that's definitely just something I'm figuring out. But yes, luckily I'm not set in stone of getting a master's in HR. That was just kind of like something I was like, oh, okay, maybe that makes sense. But I do appreciate what you all are saying, and that will not be the next step.
And definitely see if you can find some internships, especially as it pertains to HR, because again, your degree is not necessarily in HR. So at least if you can find some internships to give you insights into what we do and what each function does, and that can help you try to narrow what your focus, should be. I started my HR career in talent acquisition. I loved it till I didn't. And so some people stay there. I pivoted. But you have a lot of people in HR, like person that's done ER through and through. There's some people that's do ER then go to HRBP and pivot in and out. But those are things you won't know until you're actually doing it and you're seeing it for yourself.
Absolutely. And yes, I am currently in the progress of finding an internship. I have reached out to people in my area because I'm in Tampa. So yes,
Okay.
I am looking for internships. And yeah, I am interested in talent acquisition. So that's what I've been looking for as well. But yes,
So
thank
Sanaya,
you both. I appreciate it. Oh, go
I
ahead.
want to a
Yes.
couple of things. I want to make sure we really make sure this conversation is very clear. This is not Andrea and I giving you cloud-based ambiguity here. Like this is very direct information. Andrea is a whole CHRO. The top of wherever you want to be in your career is her, and I've been an executive as well in HR. So we're what we're telling you is this is not feel good. I feel like this. This is not about your feelings. This is about reality. And the reality is a master's is not going to be um, this end. It's not going to do what you think it will, right? Your reasons for it needs to be far beyond I feel, right? It needs to be
Yeah.
what is your ROI? How much are you going to be making after you get that master's? How much is it going to cost you? How long is it going to take you to do it? What types of specialization are you going to do with that? Ultimately, when you finish that master's, what type of job are you getting and how much you're going to be making? By the way, what roles will you be working in this whole time? If you can't answer those questions, this is not a time for you to be pursuing a master's degree. Your time, what you should be focusing on in your junior year, is an internship.
Mm-hmm.
And an internship is very simple. Here's a couple things. Do you have anybody in your family that owns a doctor's office or store, some type of business where they have employees, right? You don't have to answer the question today. But if they do, that is an internship. Ask them to help you, ask them to allow you to manage some of the the employee records, or help you, allow you to interview, or allow you to just do some administrative stuff. And all they need to do is to simply verify that you've had an HR intern or HR assistant title. You're not doing education for the sake of it. You're doing it to make money, right? And so the internship's role is to give you the experience. So when you graduate, you would have had 2 years, junior and senior year of 2 years of HR going into your graduation period. And even before that, right? But 2 years getting ready to graduate and finding a role that's going to pay you to take care of yourself, right? And so the game is different. It's not just I'm out here. No, listen, we're telling
Yeah.
you. So with Black in
To
HR,
that point, Sanaya, I have a doctorate, but none of my supervisors have had anything more than a bachelor's.
yep.
Mm,
So just going to put that out there. All of the CHR
yes.
roles that I've reported to, every HR executive I reported to, they all only have bachelor's degrees.
Mm,
People will tell you anything. They'll tell you to go get your master's, go get your PhD, go do this, go do that. But you're the one who ultimately has to pay the bills. You're the one
Hundreds
who
of
has to
thousands.
those years you're spending at that time, you could be dedicating to some other things. If you like to travel, if you want to,
Mhm.
um, spend time with family, like school is not the end all be all. This is for everybody on the call. Guys, do
yes.
not be diving into school to
Mhm.
escape or to think it's going to save you from something else. No one's coming to save you. You got to do it. So we want to make sure, we're giving you the right information. Stick with Black in HR. Ask these questions. Come to our workshops. We do have a consulting arm, and we do have internship opportunities that we can support you with. Reach out to us. You're in Black in HR. This is the place to get what you need. So I would encourage you, email our team. We can provide you with some internship. It's not going to be credit based, but it will be the opportunity for you to observe some of our consultants. Amber got on the call earlier. She's one of our consultants. We do this all the time, and we try to make sure we provide you guys with the resources and tools you need to be successful. So again, thank you for coming off mic. We really appreciate it, but we wanted to make sure you understood we're here to support you ultimately.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I truly appreciate you both for your insight. I'm taking it all in, and I'm grateful
Mhm.
that I joined the Zoom. It was kind of like I downloaded the app, and I saw the Zoom, and I was like, okay, let me just click on it. And I'm very glad I did. Who, okay, so I would love to stay in contact with all of you. So is there like an email I should reach out to, or should I just
Yeah.
continue to just follow up on the app, or could I do both?
So stay in the app, do that. If you're interested in potentially doing some internship work, I'm gonna drop our email in. So email that, well, Andrew did, thank you. Email that email address so we can make sure to get you plugged in with some opportunities going into the summer. It may not be a million hours. It's really just to be able to say you've done the work. We have
Right.
consultants that you can support them in their consulting. Andrea does consulting. I'm sure she's always looking for somebody to do a PowerPoint for her. Like we're just trying to tell you there's a lot of ways to get the outcome you're looking for. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
So I'll be reaching out.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. My battery's running low on my laptop, so let me go through this real quick. All right, 10%. As a reminder, our membership program is really about making sure our members are able to get the things that they're looking for to grow their careers, to win. We want to provide you guys with the right information at the right time. It's research based, it's actually practical. These are things that we have lived and experienced, and we want to share that with you. So, Black in HR is the best place for you to get and grow your career. Um, and part of that, our members, you get access to our chapters, you get access to compliance tool, HR, expert support, networking opportunities, monthly programming, workshops like today, master classes, and then of course job search. So our job board, all of our roles include an email address of the hiring manager or the recruiter. You cannot get that anywhere else, right? And we want to make sure that we provide our members with the resources and the shortcuts where possible to win. And Amber is one of our executive coaches and instructors, but she's also one of our chapter leaders as well in Dallas. Um, Amber, feel free to come off mic in a minute. Your new member dashboard will be launching next week. So we're going to be bringing all of Black in HR's resources to you guys in the portal, and you guys will get access next week. It's going to be amazing. So we're looking forward to giving you guys the tools you need to continue to win in your careers. Um, and as I stated, the compliance tool will give you access to experts. If you are an HR of one, you're a consultant, and maybe you need to get some support on something happening in California or with your client, you can call this number and they can give you HR expertise. It's already including your membership, right? So we want to make sure you guys have what you need to be successful. This will be coming out next week as well. And then Black and HR chapters. This is the best part of it. Our chapters are doing amazing. We already have Miami on the map. Tampa and Orlando will be coming. Orlando actually has a secret dinner coming up in for Sherm in September. So now I encourage you to come to if you can drive to Orlando for that and meet some of our members in Orlando. Great. Same thing with Tampa. We're going to be doing something there as well, all over the country. So guys, if you are interested in connecting with local members, your membership gives you access to every chapter. It's not one or two, it's all chapters. You can just pull up, go to their events. You get the same benefits that the members there get as well. And then we do chapter events. Amber, if you want to come on for a quick second to highlight that. You're still here? I gotta let you speak. Sorry. There you go.
Hey, yes, thank you. So like Grayson said, I am the chapter president for Dallas, also serving as the national council chair, but we have a ton of events that are coming up. Most recently, we had our Houston chapter launch. We've got a Puttery networking event coming up here in Dallas on the 21st. And there's just a ton of networking, connection, community going on across the United States, y'all. So I encourage you to plug in with your local chapter. If we don't have a chapter where you are and you're looking to have an event or a secret dinner or brunch or whatever, reach out to us. We can help you get that set up. We have some, I spoke to someone today in Boston who's interested. There's a couple of people, and so we're going to get on a call and try to form something there. But to Prayson's point earlier, whether or not you live in that city, your membership gives you a quote unquote passport, right? So let's say you don't live here in Dallas, you're in Tampa, but you're coming to Dallas next month. You can pull up to our event. You'll have access to that. You can pull up to our chapter meetings. You can pull up to, anything that we have going on. Your membership is going to give you access across the app, across all the cities that we have, different members and things in. So I definitely encourage you to check it out. Look in the app, look at the different chapters, kind of see what we have going on, stay plugged in. If you have any questions, if you're looking to build a chapter or you have, interest or whatever, reach out to me. You can reach me through the app. You can DM me. You can reach out to admin at the Black in HR. They can get you connected.
Yeah, and actually to that point, so now you made me think, so you the FAMU, you go there. We're already planning to start Black in HR chapters on HBCU campuses. And so that's going to be something coming ideally in the fall. And we're really looking forward to planning chapters with the next generation of HR leaders in our community. We're going to start with HBCU campuses. And so luckily our chapters have HBCUs, Atlanta, DC, and Houston. They have HBCUs in other cities as well. So we're going to be planning those all over the country as well. So again, this is about our people, our community, our growth, and we're going to be everywhere we need to be. All right. And then, thank you, Amber, for that. So again, our membership plans, there are annual plans. They come with so many benefits that you can take advantage of. Some of you guys are already on annual plans, so the new compliance tools, we're just going to migrate you over. It won't be anything different. One day you'll be on your normal plan. The next day you'll have all these new resources that will pop up when you get an email giving you access to the new portal. For those of you guys who are on monthly memberships, you're able to maintain those if you like to. But if you do want access to the new compliance tools, you will need to upgrade that, and we'll make that migration process easy. And again, for those of you guys who are just on the fence, trying to figure out if this is for you, we hope that Black in HR can continue to show that we are curating experiences and cultural nuance for the members of this community. And so again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, but we hope that you're interested in joining us at some point. And then finally, Power 26 is coming back. This is our national conference. We're going to be hosting it all over the country in the cities of Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Charlotte, and DC. So we'll be taking Power on the road. And so if you are in those cities and you want to come to our conference this fall, starting this summer, then we encourage you to get a ticket. Your ticket will allow you to go to any of the conferences that you want to go to. And so it's a vibe. We host VIP events. We'll be hosting rooftop parties. We'll be hosting all-day workshops. We'll feed you. We're going to have a good time. And this is the type of experience you can't get at SHRM. You'll go to SHRM and you'll be looking around. You won't see many of us. And if you do, it's not nothing to do. But at Black in HR stuff, at our conferences, it's a complete vibe. And the theme is homecoming. So you know what that means. For those of you guys who went to HBCUs, we're going to be bringing that energy all around the country. And so again, thank you so much, guys. We hope that you join us. We hope that we provide some value to you for this particular chat. Andrea and Joseph, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your stories. It's been incredibly helpful, and I'm love to see you guys win. I love to see you guys get the outcomes you say you want, and to get these successes and hit these goals, and to be able to go back and show other people how to do it, right? It's really about teaching other people how to win. Don't be the one who gets who hits something, who gets an opportunity, and you're not willing to share the wealth, right? Because that is not how the world is built. That is not how we as a community can continue to grow. We have to be willing to bring other people along, share knowledge, give insights, help other people intern with your consulting firm. If you have a client, give someone a couple hours to support you, but give them the experience to learn how to do it. You don't have to have it all. You don't have to get every dollar. Share it with other people, and you'll get an opportunity to have them bring that back to you. So again, thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Amber.
Welcome.
Thank you, Preethan. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank
And we'll see you
you.
guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.